Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's something serious. Where my girls at? We linked up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going out tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going out tonight. Yeah, right. It's going out tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going out tonight. Yeah, right.
Agenda after revealing new details about his concessions and Democrats' division. We're breaking down his performance at CNS Town Hall and their prospects for a final deal as Democrats appear poised to miss yet another self-imposed deadline later tonight. And the actor Alec Baldwin says he's fully cooperating with police after he fatally fired a pop gun on a movie set. The film cinematographer is dead. The director is injured at tonight. Baldwin says his heart is broken. We want to welcome our viewers here in the United States and around the world. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room.
Oh, it's Friday. It is Fierce Friday, and it is going down. It is going down. It is going down. Thank you for joining. We got issues, and thanks for tuning in to 910 a.m. The Superstation WFDF out of Detroit. But you know you are catching us on iHeart. Are you listening to us through ALEXA? I can't say it, otherwise she'll answer me on the radio. Are you listening to us on Roku? I mean, last week we were talking with Europe, so I'm looking for every continent. Who else is watching us on YouTube? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Thanks for tuning in to The Force of Friendship. Be sure you are following us on theforceoffriendship.com, and you can also click on the About link where you can find all about all the girlfriends and how to follow us on social media, because we all got issues, but we got a great life. You will learn all about it on social media. So follow us. Today we have another great show. There's a lot happening in the world. There's a lot happening. There's a lot happening in Michigan. I mean, Benton Harbor, water, what? I'm like, not again, Chris. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that. We have a great show today. Don't sleep on this show, okay? Do not sleep on this show.
Literally.
We are talking sleep. And I'm going to tell you how I came to this subject. It really is one of my favorite things. I think water, French fries, and sleep are like one of my favorite things in life. Yeah, I put my husband and my mom up there, but I think those are three of my favorite things. And I'm going to tell you how this happened for me and how I got connected with our amazing guest. You're going to be impressed with her. And this ties right in with what Paul Ritter was talking about last week. OMG, as we had this amazing health conversation. So first, we are going hot topics, checking in with the girlfriends. And if you are on social media, you are seeing Lady Crisette has on a sweater, long sleeve. That is telling me it ain't so hot outside today. What's going on, Crisette?
Hey, you guys. I'm so excited to be on another show. We got issues, and I'm telling you, the weather is officially changed in Detroit, in Michigan. When I tell you today, I went out for my jog and I was like, oh, you need a jacket. And then I came home, the house was chilly. I said, oh, it's time to put on a sweater. So the heat is on. Don't tell my husband the heat is on. The heat is on, okay? It's nothing like being in a cold house, but the heat is on. But you know what? I love fall because we get a chance. I love being in a state where you experience all four seasons. So we get to wear the nice summer clothes, and then we get to put on our nice fall clothes. So I'm not complaining. It's still a beautiful day, crispness in the air. So it's wonderful. But yeah, it's a lot that's going on. And Caterina, you did mention Benton Harbor, and officials announced that it's a state of emergency in Benton Harbor, and that means that they want to speed up the lead pipes that are in that city that supplies the water supply. So I guess they had a timeline, but because it's worse than I guess they expected, they are trying to speed that up. We all know the fiasco that happened in Flint, so they don't want it to be another Flint ordeal. And this is the thing, isn't it amazing? And it shouldn't be amazing, but the fact that Benton Harbor is 85% Black. Okay.
Wow.
85% Black. So that tells you right now. And so because of that, of course, they've had to distribute, I think they said they distributed over 71,000 cases of water across the city since September 13. And so I have to give hats off to our governor, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who visited the city on Monday, and she and the legislature is going to provide an additional $11.4 million to replace the pipes. And you know what? That's another story. I mean, when we think about Flint and you think about lead pipes and you think about all of the people, and the children and the seniors and other people who drank the water, the lead pipes, and how as the children are going to be affected, so many things happen with children and the brain development and their mental development when they have been exposed to lead. You guys remember when they were talking about the lead paint and how some children were eating the lead paint and how it damaged them. This is definitely something that we got to keep our eyes on. So they
said like 18 months of not being able to drink or cook with the water. I mean, unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely. We need an infrastructure situation in Benton Harbor today.
And it's Benton Harbor, 85% Black, but I guarantee you the suburbs don't have that issue. Really?
Right. Right. That's right.
Oh my goodness. There is a lot going on, but water is essential and it has to be fixed. Has to be fixed. I am going to Maryland. How are you doing, Gloria? What is happening in your world today?
Let me tell you something. Okay. So I don't have on a sweater. And I haven't turned the heat on, but I have my heater in my room.
Yeah.
Blasted right now, blasted. So I will get up and turn it off in a minute because it is hot up in here. I don't like to be cold. The first thing that happens to my fingers get cold, my toes get cold. It's crazy. I missed y'all yesterday, so I'm excited to be back on today. And when I tell you I'm so excited to talk about sleep, I'm excited to know about sleep. I'm excited to learn about sleep. I love anything that's health related. I love that kind of information. So for real, I do want to say when we hear about these situations, in these cities where it is, I just want to ask us to don't become so desensitized to this information because we hear so much of this information all the time. And it's just so easy to move on to the next news cycle. And they bet on us moving to the next news cycle. So, we have to just keep the noise up. The squeaky wheel does get the attention. So in all areas, we have to keep saying it's absolutely unacceptable. Like Barbara Stewart said, it's just important for us to be very loud about it because once again, I'm going to say it, until we take care of us, no one's going to take care of us. So we have to just keep very vigilant about things like that. And, again, very vigilant about the COVID situation. Again, the news cycle moves on, but people are still very sick. We still can't lose sight of our consciousness. And, I want to say this too. It's not for us to get sad about it. It's for us to be delightful in the changes that we can make. It is important for us to be excited about the things that we can do to strengthen us and not always be sad or overwhelmed with the reality, because that doesn't make it go away, and it doesn't make it easier for other people to participate in it. And so it's a lot out here. It's a lot out here, but we are still out here. And so as long as we're out here, those of us who can need to stand for those who can't. And so I'm excited about the show, and I'm excited about what we stand for, and I'm excited about what we're doing. Back to you, Caterina, and Sabrina's on the radio, so I heard. Go ahead, Caterina.
Yes. We're hearing from our girlfriend on the road, but on the radio, okay? You do not get an absent for today. How you doing, Sabrina?
Good. Working hard to make sure that I have a perfect attendance for this week. So I'm the road, but I'm the radio. Yes. And Gloria, you brought up a good point. You know, we are still in motion. A lot is going on out here, and it is an intentional work to not get sad and overwhelmed with life. You just have to be intentional not to get sad and overwhelmed, because there is so much of that in the world. So I know we have a great show. Sleep is very important. I mean, you guys, you can guess what girlfriends get the most sleep and which ones get the least sleep on this show. Okay. So we like to wearing red. She's wearing red. It's be going on at 11. My text goes off at 11:30. My text goes off at 12 o'clock. I'm like, none of them sleep. Nobody sleeps around here. Nobody. Oh my goodness. So back to you, Caterina. Back to you.
Yes, it is a Fierce Friday, and we have a fierce sister on the line. She is, I'm excited that we are introducing her to We Got Issues and adding you to the tribe. And believe it or not, one of the things when I met Shelley Thomas, gosh, it seems like 2018, 2017, 2018, we discovered that we had a mutual friend, and that was Sabrina Goodwin Monday. So we will learn how you guys are connected. But listen to this, Dorothy, go ahead and bring our guest in, Shelley Thomas. She is a board certified health and wellness coach with certifications in functional medicine coaching, mind-body medicine, and holistic cannabis consulting. She is the founder of Health Partner and Functional Medicine Coach Organization. She co-authored a book all about holistic healing that's available on Amazon. So be sure to tell us that exact title, Shelley, so we can grab that. And former pharmaceutical consultant and hospital executive for Merck Pharmaceutical Company, where she consulted healthcare practitioners for nearly 20 years. Listen to this, you guys. She graduated from Jackson State University with a BS, Mass Communications and Juris Doctorate from the University of Tulsa. There is that Sabrina connection. University of Tulsa College of Law. So she gonna talk about sleep, but it's gonna be smart sleep, because Shelley is smart. Right. So you guys, in a world where 70% of adults report that they obtain insufficient sleep at least one night a month, and 11% report insufficient sleep every night, it is estimated that sleep-related problems affect 50 to 70 million Americans of all ages and socioeconomic. And that is the only stat I'm going to give, because we got an expert who's going to tell us the real deal. So as I bring you in, Shelley, we want to welcome you to We Got Issues. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hi, ladies.
Oh, girl. So, yes, how are you and Sabrina? How do you know Sabrina?
There's nobody in Oklahoma that doesn't know Sabrina. You know, literally, she was somebody as a child that I looked up to. She probably thought I was like a pest, you know, because she was just everything. She was Miss Hornet of her high school. I mean, so as a little girl, I just looked up to Sabrina, and I've known her family, her sister Regina, everybody, her dad, just since I was a little girl. So super honored to be here. Very much.
Absolutely. I had a functional medical doctor that I paid quite a bit to work with me on
things as you get older, the weight, the hormones, the mood swing, the stuff, okay, that's happening. And as part of that package, Shelley was a part of it. And she began to tell me that I don't care what you do, if you do not fix your sleep situation, and you don't stop staying up till 2 and 4 and 5 in the morning, Caterina.
Help us,
I'm a
help us.
night person. Okay. You are never going to be able to have optimum health. So Shelley, I know we have about 5-6 minutes. Good time. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to this journey of helping people in all areas of health, but around sleep.
Well, the interesting thing is I look at this group of beautiful women and what I see are super successful, probably, I'm not going to assume, but overachievers. And I don't know if anybody out there, somebody who's been driven. That's probably put it mildly. Well, honestly, my health issues began when I was around 35. When I was 35, I had a medication that put me into early menopause. Doctors didn't believe it, but if we know our bodies and we know ourselves and we trust ourselves, we know when something is amiss. So I went on this health journey that lasted probably 10 years and probably saw no less than 10 doctors. And more often than not, they were either throwing something at a symptom that never worked. You know, you take something like, I'll never forget, somebody gave me an antidepressant and I'm thinking in my mind, I'm not depressed. And it didn't work. It didn't change anything, but I knew something was off, right? And it all culminated around 2012. I was driving across the state, going to meet with some physicians in Southern Oklahoma, and blacked out while I was driving. I ended up driving another 20 miles unconscious and just went less than maybe just a number of feet, but I would have gone off an overpass. And that was my wake-up call. I had gone to every type of doctor you can think of, naturopaths, iridologists. You know, of course, I had access to the best doctors in the state because I was working, you know, for a major pharmaceutical company, but nobody thought that there was anything wrong. So when it culminated with that car accident, I just really was led spiritually. I said, I've got to find an answer. Right. There's something going on. And there was a physician in Eastern Oklahoma in Grove, and she was so different. She was very demure, very, you know, quiet, and you could tell she was really engaged with her patients. And one day I just thought, I'm going to wait for her. She was in meetings all day, and I said, I don't know what it's going to take, but I'm going to sit down and talk to her. And I literally talked to her after work, and she sent me home with my own labs to do at home. And when she came back, when the labs came back in, I met with her for like an hour to an hour and a half. Now, who does that in this day and age? Right. Usually you're lucky if you get 15 minutes with a doctor, an hour and a half, and we mulled through my genetic history, all my labs together, and she identified that I was positive for rheumatoid arthritis, an autoimmune illness, and was leaning toward lupus. And within a year, in a nutshell, we had reversed every single thing, including hormonal imbalances, which a lot of middle-aged women have. We reversed everything within a year and never used any medication. I was so I knew then that, it was life-changing. She saved my life.
Right.
Wow. I mean, you got our attention. You have our attention. We can't wait to learn more about what it is. Can you just explain the basic difference between what is functional medicine? What does that mean?
So functional medicine is really unique. A lot of people, when they hear that term, they think holistic medicine. And it really isn't. It's a technique. It's a process for physicians to be able to identify what the root cause of any type of illness or symptom, where it originates. It's usually used when people have gone, more often than not, people have seen 7 to 10 doctors before they ever get to a functional medicine doctor. It's usually not where people begin, unless they're just really, really into biohacking their health, like a professional athlete is really looking to be at the top of their game from a health perspective. But more often than not, it's individuals like myself who've gone everywhere. They've hit a wall, and they don't know what else to do. And just by chance, they happen to hear about functional medicine. But it is the fastest growing area of medicine worldwide. So it's becoming more, common now and more accessible.
Wow. I can't wait to learn more. We are going to learn more, some general things about functional medicine, but we're really going to talk about sleep when we come back. Thanks for listening to We Got Issues. We will be right back. Okay. We love to learn on We Got Issues. We love to have fun. We love to just empower women, empower men. And, when you change the life of a woman, you change the life of the world. So we are some sisters up here making a difference. And we have Shelley Thomas, amazing lawyer, amazing functional medical coach. And we want to also hear about that holistic cannabis coaching too. But I want to just bring you back and have you talk about sleep. Why is it important? What's the misinformation? What do we not know that we need to know? You're going to rock our world tonight. We all going to have a good night's rest.
Yes. Well, you said at the top of the show, and you nailed it on the head, 7 out of 10 Americans have some sleep disorder or sleep disruption. And the significance of that is that sleep is one of 5 areas of our lifestyle that is the root cause of 80 to 90% of diseases that we have. And people don't think about it like that, whether we're talking cancer, whether we're talking autoimmune illnesses, depression, Alzheimer's. Most of those have effectively been managed or treated and or reversed. And we'll come back to that term, by biohacking your lifestyle. And so that's one of the things I think is so important here, and would be a missed opportunity if we walk away not recognizing that this is not just about feeling better, and it's not just about preventing health. With functional medicine, these are techniques that are used to actually reverse disease. And so that's the significance of that, because sleep is really implicated in every bodily system, especially neurological, but it's involved in our metabolism, in our immune health, which everybody's thinking about because of the COVID and the pandemic.
Right.
Literally one night of disrupted sleep can cause immune system dysregulation, just that one night.
Wow.
So while we're really
One
thinking
night?
about, one night offsets all the work you're doing to build up your immune system. So that's how critical it is.
Hey, Shelley, can I ask a question? My question, first of all, let me just say thank you for being on the show. I'm so excited about this topic because everybody has an opinion. I'm reading a book called The Miracle Morning, and how important it is to get up early in the morning, and and in the book it does allude to everybody doesn't necessarily need the same amount of sleep as everyone else. And so my question is, and I know sometimes we think this, like when we miss sleep, the sleep that you miss, can you ever catch up on it? It's like, I didn't sleep, or I stayed up to 2 o'clock and then I had to get up early. And then on the weekend, maybe I slept in longer. Is that a truth that you can make up for missed sleep?
I don't think you can make up for it. But Sabrina nailed it on the head at the top when she used the term being intentional. That's what all of this is about. It's not about being perfect. This is about having balance and really making sure that we're intentional about having rituals and being aware and conscientious of our lifestyle choices. It's not about going back and trying to, if you have a weekend at homecoming, my Jackson State alma mater just had its homecoming, and I'm sure nobody was really being intentional about getting their sleep in, and that's okay. But this is about this is about longevity and really what we're going to do on a regular basis. And, it's really sleep hygiene. And I think maybe Caterina mentioned that earlier, just having some rituals in place and being intentional about rewiring the brain, making sure that wake and sleep cycle is in balance, making sure that, that you go to bed at the same time each night, that you have a ritual that prepares your mind and your body for restful sleep, which means starting an hour before bedtime, getting your home, getting your bedroom, and getting your body ready for restful sleep.
Now, those are the two things
so
that
hard.
you preach to me a lot. Talk about the ritual and talk about the consistency. It's not just the 8 hours. Like you would say you got to be asleep by a certain time because of the circadian rhythm and all that stuff.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay,
I have a
go ahead,
question. I have a
Gloria.
question.
Yeah.
I have a question. I have a question.
The circadian rhythm, we hear that all the time.
Go ahead,
that's
Gloria.
just basically.
Oh,
Now, my
go ahead,
question is, Shelley. Here's my question, Shelley. Are we supposed to not look at our phone for 60 minutes before we go to bed?
I'm going to take it a step further, Gloria.
Oh,
you need to
Lord.
get the phone out your bedroom.
Goodbye, everyone.
You got to get the phone out your bedroom. I don't know if you heard me, but the phone, the TV, all of this, what they call light pollution, this blue light,
Right.
the computer. I mean, I'm a junkie when it comes to being on the computer. I'm the worst. But for some people, they're extremely sensitive to EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. That is messing up the circadian rhythm, the sleep-wake cycle for so many people. So that's got to be at the top of the list. If you're having sleep issues, cut off the TV, get the phone out of the room, go back to, I know that's the first thing we do when we wake up, or we use it as an alarm clock, but we got to go back to the basics. I mean, we didn't have cell phones when we were kids. What did we have? We had the old Uncle Ben clock next to the bed that you wound up. but we didn't have all these illnesses either, right?
Mm-hmm. And you know what, Shelley? I will tell you this, and I tell people all the time, I sleep like a vampire. My room has to be pitch dark. I mean, I'm not as bad as I used to be. I mean, to the place where I would have to take, when we had the clock radio, I'd turn it over so I couldn't see the light. And literally, I remember thinking, I'm going to go get some gray duct tape and tape like the cable box. That little light on the cable box would just, even though my eyes were closed, it was something about me knowing that it was there. Wow. I would take a towel and put it under the door of a hotel room because of the light. So I totally am one of those individuals who have to have it as dark as possible. That's me.
Yeah. You know, one of the most important things is
something over your eyes. What does it help if you put
I'm
something over your
claustrophobic.
eyes?
I can't do that because it makes me, I'm claustrophobic. I can't do that.
I can. I'm great with it. Does that count?
Does that help, Shelley, when you cover your eyes?
Shelley, if you have something over your eyes?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's for each individual, but the intention is you want to really go to bed when when it gets dark, and you want to wake when the sun is coming up. And you really want to expose yourself to natural sunlight within 20 to 30 minutes of waking. You've got to reset your circadian rhythm and your natural sleep-wake cycle. You know, you think, I know. You don't have to. But again, you know, if the average person needs 7 to 8 hours of sleep, that may mean 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., or 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. So you don't have to go to bed when the sun goes down. But what you do want to start doing is being aware. We want to start reducing LED lighting, overhead lighting in our rooms. Start using lamps. Again, start getting in the habit of thinking about being in alignment with the environment. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ohio. And it gets darker earlier. And when we move, it's in fall, the fall season. But I was telling Kenny, I'm just getting so sleepy so much earlier here. But that makes thinking you say get in alignment with the environment. So your body can automatically adjust to the environment. So now that makes me feel better that I'm not, that my bodies are doing what it's supposed to do, I'm guessing.
That's exactly it. In a lot of medicine, including, areas of functional medicine, are you all able to hear me? Yes, we got you. Okay, good. Okay, so a lot of holistic practitioners, including
some practitioners, are incorporating what they call ancestral medicine into their practices, which means that they're really trying to get people to go back to the basics of what hunters and gatherers did, right? So they didn't have all these devices and artificial light. When it got dark, they went to bed. When it was, sunrise, they got up. So it's about balance, going back to what's natural for us. Those rituals we talked about, stop drinking caffeine in the afternoon. You don't have to. I see Crisette's expression. You don't have to have it.
Everybody's toes is just smashed. Okay.
But let me tell you,
she don't go to bed early. She don't get up late. She's a hot mess. Sabrina's a hot mess. I don't know that chick for a long time. All the time. And that chick, she said oh my goodness, it's a hot mess.
But you'll be a believer. You will be a believer when you have an illness and you start seeing these changes, reversing your disease process. That's what, it's hard to change lifestyle when you feel good and it's not really impacting you that significantly. But over time, things accumulate. And I'll tell you, Sabrina mentioned like the connection with the environment. One research study showed that just camping for 2 nights out in, the wilderness, for lack of a better word, resets melatonin for 2 weeks.
Wow.
That's that connection with the electromagnetic field, like you get when you go barefoot and you're walking through the grass. Your body is resetting with your environment. So that's how important and how impactful it is. Yeah.
Shelley, we had 2 questions. Someone that is on our Facebook audience was asking about the CPAP. Can you talk about those that have been diagnosed with sleep apnea that are using CPAP? Anything you want to add about that? And how do you find a functional medical doctor? Someone else asked about that as well. How do you learn more and find someone in your area?
So one of the things I'm sure you can attest to with your experience with functional medicine is that it's very individualized. There is no generic, if you have sleep apnea, that you're going to get this regimen or this treatment. Everything is based on your genetic makeup and your lifestyle. And because we know that 80 to 90% of the cause of the disease is your lifestyle, we have to then tailor that to that individual and what's going on in their in their life, in their environment that's turning on and turning off their genes. See, people don't realize these biohacks are literally either upregulating or downregulating your genes, which is why, like in my case, we were able to turn off the autoimmune genes that were causing my symptoms by using these lifestyle hacks and supplements and other interventions as well. So for that individual that has sleep apnea, they have a disease process that's already progressed. So they'll need a provider that's going to actually look at their genetic makeup and figure out, based on that and based on their environment and their lifestyle, what they'll need to be able to get that, back in order.
Mm-hmm. How do you find someone to help you? What kinds of questions do you ask? What are you looking for? Because we all know a lot of times you can't just go to your traditional doctor. A lot of times they don't even, they're not open to it, or sometimes not even aware themselves.
That's right. Yeah, so IFM, which stands for Institute for Functional Medicine, ifm.org is a website, and they have a doc finder where you can go and put in your zip code or what have you and find some practitioners that are certified in functional medicine. I will say personally, I'm very particular about finding those that are certified, because a lot of doctors will take a couple of courses and not finish the whole certification process. And they can use the term functional medicine, but I look for those that are truly certified.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's good. Shelley, it was probably, that's good. And other sleep aids, what is there any other things you can do that help you for people that are challenged with sleeping?
Yeah, so supplements can be used, but I don't think that's where you begin necessarily. I think, like, for example, you can biohack your health and get your sleep back in order just over the course of a couple of months if you will cut out caffeine, cut out alcohol and sugar, and apply some sleep hygiene, techniques. That should reset the melatonin naturally. So we don't necessarily start with supplements. Sometimes they're necessary, but that's not the end all be all. We're looking for figuring out what is it for you personally that has caused this process to be imbalanced.
And when you said apply some sleep hygiene techniques, those are ones that will be unique for you based on what you need to do? Or can you tell us what that means when you say?
Yeah, that's the ritual. That's what you're going to start doing 1 to 2 hours before bedtime every night, same time, because again, you're focused on rewiring the brain. So that may be for one person, a warm bath, followed by lowering the temperature in the room. I'm smiling because I heard everybody getting excited about bringing out their space heaters and cutting on the heat, and I'm the same way, but ideally you want the room around 65 degrees when you go to bed. I know, I'm sorry. So it may. Okay, that may not work for you guys.
67, 68. I can sleep at.
You about to
But I mean, like, I have this much coverage on. Here's the test. The test for whether you're getting
sleep is how you feel when you wake. If you wake and you feel rested and rejuvenated, because this is all about giving your body what it needs so that when it sleeps, it can work on, just revitalizing your body. This is when your cells start turning over and your body starts healing. Sleep is so critical, especially for the mind. That's when all the toxins are removed from the brain. If you're not giving your body what it needs, it can't function optimally. And I know you ladies are pushing yourselves because you're super successful, but you got to give it what it needs so that it can perform at an optimal level. So
what about this?
Carolyn Muse asked, what about, I was just going to say, what about people who really say they need less than 8 hours of sleep? She says she sleeps 5 hours and she wakes up like just all the time. Are there some people who just don't need 8 hours?
That is true. There are some people that don't. I would probably be concerned if you're only getting 5. I don't think you can go through all the different cycles of sleep that are necessary, probably in 5 hours repetitively. So it is very individualized, but 5 is probably pushing it a little.
Go ahead, Gloria.
And I think we talked about that.
I was saying the other thing that gets one's attention is that when you don't sleep well, you get dark circles under your eyes. Did y'all know that? It's a problem.
Some do. I don't know that I've ever had dark circles.
Okay.
I notice it in my digestive system. My body, I can feel it in my digestive system. It shows up for me that way if I don't sleep correctly, long enough, the right time. Absolutely. Everything.
All disease begins in the gut, Caterina. So that makes sense. Even though you may not have symptoms in the gut, all disease begins in the gut. And even though sleep, we're often thinking about mental health because it is the foundation for mental health. But most of your neurons are not in the brain. Most of them are in the gut. So there is a direct connection between the brain and the gut. But, Sabrina mentioned, like, do I have to cut the, temperature down to 65 or do I have to do this? No, it's individualized. And there are a number of different things you can do to, get that sleep-wake cycle reset and to set up some rituals. There's a hypnosis app that some of your listeners may enjoy called Reverie, Reveri. It's a 15-minute hypnosis app. It's not hypnosis like we stereotypically think of hypnosis, but it's to help you reset your brain and prepare it for sleep. And there are
Shelley,
all kinds of things. Yes, ma'am.
I remember enough to just say it, the blue zones. Remember you talked to me about there's certain people that live in certain areas and I don't remember, but it was 3 years ago. I remember you had that conversation with me. Can you talk about that? Because there are certain segments of the population. Are they like the Amish or something in terms of how they've studied them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a group in Loma Linda, California. It was one of the few areas when they originally did the study, and this was through National Geographic. There was a study of people that typically live past 100, centenarians is what we call them. And they found a few, I didn't hear the question.
That was Sabrina.
Go ahead. Sabrina, not muted.
But no, there were very few places in the world where people, as a general rule of thumb, live past 100. That was in Greece, Italy, but again, we only had one place originally in the United States that met that criteria. And that was in that community of Loma Linda, California, which was historically where a lot of Seventh-day Adventists resided. But the real takeaway from that, there were 9 different areas that they found that these areas had in common. And really what it took, the takeaway was, again, they lived very much in alignment with nature. They ate plant-based diets, very little meat or protein. Well, I should say not protein, but very little meat. Their protein came from legumes and from beings primarily. They got a lot of natural activity. So in the United States, we focus on diet and exercise, right? We think we're really, improving our health. But a lot of that exercise comes from going to a gym or jogging or something of that nature. Right. None of those communities did they do that. They all got their activity or their movement through natural means. But they're out there, they're doing agricultural work. They're walking 10 miles to and from town to get groceries or to go to work. So it's part of their entire lifestyle. They drink wine. They drink wine as a group. So it's not about like going home and having your drink. They drink wine, 1 glass a night, I think is a recommendation for women, up to 2 for men, but they drink it as a community. And that was a real big takeaway was when they really—
People are excited. People are excited, like something I like to do.
There's nothing wrong. It's all about everything in moderation and balance, right?
Right.
And the main takeaway they found when they really peeled back the layers and were challenged to say of those 9 different traits that they had in common, which one probably, if you had to nail it down, had the most impact. And it was that sense of community. It's that connection to others. And it goes back to being, what did hunters and gatherers do? They lived tribally. It was that interdependence and connection and really, really deep relationships, which obviously, the 4 of you have really mastered. So
we want to hear about cannabis. Talk to us about cannabis. How does it impact health? Yeah.
Cannabis is amazing. And as it relates to sleep, the number one, this is actually prescribed, especially when you get into like disease processes like rheumatoid arthritis and autoimmune diseases, or disease processes where they really have significant sleep disturbances. Some doctors are prescribing THC, which is the form of cannabis. The cannabinoid is what it's called, the part of the plant that has the psychotropic effects, if you will. Now, you'll see from a marketing perspective, a lot of emphasis on CBD. And CBD can have some impact, but it's really, really more impactful from a medical perspective to have the THC. And it can be taken in forms like THCA that don't have the hallucinogenic or the psychological impact. So we can minimize that. But again, less is more, which is kind of an oxymoron compared to traditional medicine where people think, I'll just keep taking more and more medicine to get more efficacy. So you want to start low and go slow with cannabis.
So then, Shelley, I have a question. So then I know cannabis is used now, a lot of it is used recreationally. I know that a lot of individuals have found that the different medical conditions that they've had have subsided or greatly subside when they take and use cannabis. So, and I know this is another talk show to talk about the pros and the cons. So the person that's just smoking weed for recreation, is that not healthy? Is it one of those things where you say in moderation? And I don't know if that's your, if that's within your preview of knowledge, but that is absolutely something, especially in urban communities. Now you can't hardly go to a movie theater. You can't go to a concert. It's restaurant. You walk in and the smell of the cannabis, of the weed is just so pronounced. And it's like, wow. And it can be very offensive, but talk to us about the difference between the two.
When it's truly used in a medical capacity, it's used just like you would any other prescription, meaning it has to be dosed very particularly for that individual and for that disease process. It has to be the delivery system, whether we're talking about a tincture, which is a liquid that you put under the tongue, whether you're talking about something that's inhaled or vaporized. There are lots of different delivery processes. All of that is individualized and managed very specifically for each individual. Unfortunately, you have a lot of what they call bud tenders and individuals that run dispensaries that they think that they're administering it from a medical process, but it really isn't. I mean, they'll tell you, like, for example, the indica strain of the plant is what's typically used to help people sleep. But it goes a lot deeper than that. We may, for example, recommend for an individual that they need a cannabinoid, which is a part of the cannabis plant called CBN, that may be used in addition to the THC for an individual that has a sleep disorder. So there are a lot, and the terpenes. The terpenes are, the smell and things of that. That alone, in and of itself, can be prescribed for an individual.
Mm-hmm. So there's definitely a difference. Someone asked a very important question for those that work at night. There have been some studies around that. Can you talk about what, how working at night and sleeping in the daytime can affect your health and what can be done?
Yeah. Shift work sleep disorder is a complete disease process in and of itself. So it will change your physiological processes. Your body will adapt. And we know that because we probably all known people that have, that type of shift work. But again, your body is dysregulated. So whether it's your immune system or your metabolism, they are impacted. And you'll see a lot of times a greater prevalence of disease process like type 2 diabetes in those individuals. It has to do with, again, these processes, biological processes, just being abnormal.
Wow.
Wow.
That's so interesting. Yeah.
It is. And it's important to know, and important to, again, another reason to have a functional medical professional that you're working with. I just wrote down cortisol because I just remember you talking to me so much about cortisol. Like, what is cortisol and what does it have to do with my health and sleep? And clearly I was not an A student in the class. But I remember enough to say I need to talk to Shelley some more. So can you talk about that, if that's something that you talk about in your teaching?
So cortisol is one of the two most important hormones that are part of the sleep process, the circadian rhythm. Again, if you'll find for individuals, for example, that wake up in their sleep prematurely, typically it's because the cortisol hormone has run out prematurely, because that's what should be cycling in such a way that it goes up in the morning because it wakes you up and gives you energy, as compared to the melatonin, which balances that out. That's the hormone that's regulated based on darkness. So when melatonin is high, your body again is toning down, is tapering down at nighttime. When those are out of balance and they balance each other out, you tend to have either difficulty falling asleep or waking up prematurely, not able to stay asleep like you should.
So if someone finds himself waking up in the middle of the night, always, they wake up once or twice to use the bathroom, is it a problem with their sleep, or is it that they drank too much before bed, or is it just because it happens as you get older? What is that? Is it okay? It's just like I wake up once or twice, at night, or is that a problem that you need to really look at and fix?
So it depends on the individual, to be quite honest with you. If you can get back to sleep, if you wake up, let's take, for example, people who are hypertensive and they're taking diuretics. The diuretic or the water tablet may cause them to get up at night and have to urinate. If they can get back to sleep relatively easy, that wouldn't be regarded as a sleep disorder. But if you're waking up repeatedly and you're alert and this is really impacting your quality of life, this is something that needs to be really looked at. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's awesome. Sabrina, I know you're out there bringing you back in to the conversation. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I couldn't listen because we're on the road. And this, honestly, what you guys heard in the private conversation, Shelley, he is like, that's why you said I'm getting grumpy, because you got it too hot in the house. Your house is 65 degrees. That's where you have to be, 65 degrees. Shelley, this thing is real about this temperature check. So all of the information has been so very good. I think it's just so important that we pay attention to our sleep patterns because we think sleep is a simple thing, but it's very complex. I know there are different levels and layers of sleep. Like I remember reading about there's a restorative sleep, there's a so-and-so sleep. So I think there are 3 or 4 stages of the sleep cycle. Have you talked about that, or did I miss that? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, so I haven't talked about it, but really
an expert on the sleep cycle and all the hormones and the biochemistry of it is really just knowing what you can control and how far that goes in keeping things in order. That's really, I think, the takeaway that I want to leave people with. There's so much that is within your control. You don't have to make this a thesis, if you will, meaning we just need to get back in order. We need to stop eating late. I mean, I eat so late and I know better, but what that's doing is it's got your body active, trying to digest things far later than it should be. I mean, and I think we know from a common sense perspective, I shouldn't be eating. It's 8 o'clock, but we don't think down the road how that's impacting us. So stop drinking the caffeine in the afternoon. Stop eating probably 3 hours, no later than 3 hours before bedtime. If you want to
3
take
hours.
Because you want to give your body time to digest. Same with exercise. A lot of us are like, okay, let me go out for a run or a walk after eating. Well, that means we need to push the time we have supper up a little bit to give us time for our body to calm down and begin to process the fact that it's time for us to prepare for sleep. That's what you're trying to do, is to biohack your mind to say, this is the time that my body's going to go to sleep. And if you get it on a rhythm, you get it on a schedule, it's the same time every night, it will get back in order. Your cortisol, your melatonin things will be reset.
Shelley, my goodness. This is so good. We are all biohackers. We are this weekend. We're going to have the best sleep ever. Thank you. You have been a wealth of knowledge, and truly, this conversation has saved some lives. We have had several comments of listeners saying, "I need you to bring her back." So we hope that you'll come back.
I love it.
Thank you, guys. Have a fierce Friday. You can have a glass of wine, but don't stay up too late. We'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.